Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, once the perfect Hollywood sweethearts, are now facing some of the biggest setbacks of their careers. Rumors are swirling about a Met Gala ban, a legal feud with Justin Baldoni, and a wave of Hollywood insiders turning their backs. Is this the ultimate fall from grace, or can they somehow bounce back before the final curtain drops? Stick around, because the deeper you go, the more shocking and strangely captivating this story becomes. If you followed red carpet fashion at all, you know the Met Gala is not just another celebrity event. It's the pinnacle of style, exclusivity, and celebrity power. For years, Blake was a shining star on that carpet, winning best dressed votes and racking up headlines. But in a jaw-dropping move, her name and Ryan's were abruptly erased from the 2025 guest list. Why does this matter? Because the Met Gala isn't just about showing up in a designer gown, it's about affirming your place in Hollywood's inner sanctum, rubbing shoulders with the fashion elite, and cementing alliances. If Anna Wintour, the mastermind behind the Met, has suddenly turned them away, you can bet there's a story behind it. And trust me, it's not just about who wore what dress. This snub was the first domino to fall, and everyone could sense something bigger was unraveling. A-listers don't typically skip the Met without a rock-solid reason. Filming schedules, major personal emergencies, or a top-secret project. But the whispers that Blake and Ryan were uninvited. Yes, uninvited. Hint that something had gone seriously awry. It was the biggest clue that the once unstoppable pair had landed in hot water with the most powerful people in Hollywood. Yet that Met Gala fiasco was only the tip of the iceberg. If fans and critics were already raising eyebrows, they were about to start dropping jaws, because the fallout from this ban triggered a chain of events nobody saw coming. Everybody knows Anna Wintour doesn't make public statements when she's annoyed. She doesn't have to. Her silence is more frightening than an army of lawyers. For years, Blake was among Anna's favorites. She scored coveted Vogue covers, prime seats at Fashion Week, and those legendary Met Gala invitations. But according to very chatty insiders, that all came crashing down when a certain leaked email painted Blake as someone who dared to criticize Anna's alliance with Justin Baldoni. In the fashion universe, that's like questioning a royal decree. You just don't do it. From the outside, it might look like a petty squabble over guest lists, but in this realm, it's perceived as treason. One single email was all it took to ignite Anna's fury. Blake was said to have accused Anna of bias, specifically favoring Justin Baldoni's interests. Even if there was some kernel of truth, calling out Ms. Wintour publicly is a reckless move at best. People often talk about unspoken hierarchies in Hollywood, but in fashion, it's an even tighter circle, governed by a small group of gatekeepers. Anna leads that pack. Once you lose her favor, it's as if every designer, stylist, and sponsor takes a calculated step back. Suddenly, your phone isn't ringing as much, and those brand partnership deals mysteriously vanish. This was the chilly wind beginning to blow in Blake and Ryan's direction, and it was only getting frostier. The Met Gala ban was one thing, but the bigger shock came when studios, brands, and high-profile friends started deserting them like a sinking ship. Quietly, some of the biggest names in Hollywood began walking away from joint projects. Sure, there wasn't a press conference to announce the exodus, but the absence of major offers and that eerie silence from once loyal friends spoke for itself. The real heartbreak? Their A-list circle, people like Taylor Swift, Gigi Hadid, and others who once counted Blake and Ryan among their closest pals, went mute. No more playful Instagram posts. No inside jokes on social media. Zilch. Suddenly, group photos were being cropped to exclude them. Even those happy birthday tributes that are standard in celeb world evaporated. It wasn't just about friendships, though. Studio execs began seeing Blake and Ryan as risky business. Public perception had shifted. Fans were starting to question the couple's squeaky clean veneer. And for brands that depend on a flawless, family-friendly image, this was the kiss of death. Put bluntly, controversy in Hollywood is about as welcome as a rattlesnake in your sleeping bag. If you become a lightning rod for bad press, you'll find you've got no one left in your corner. And the avalanche of rumor and gossip about Blake's on-set behavior and Ryan's complicity was picking up terrifying speed. What really cranked the tension up to 11 was the sudden spotlight on the couple's past actions, particularly their decision to hold their wedding on a plantation. For a while, it flew under the radar. But in today's social climate, no one is letting historically sensitive blunders slide quietly by. Critics dredged it up online, and to be fair, it's not exactly a minor footnote in their history. The symbolism was, at best, misguided, and at worst, downright offensive. If that were the only skeleton in the closet, maybe they could have moved on with a sincere apology. But as soon as that wedding fiasco became fresh news again, other rumors started piling on. Reports of Blake's alleged rudeness to fans, tension with press junket interviewers, and a sense of entitlement on set began floating around more aggressively than ever before. It was like a floodgate had opened. Suddenly, everyone had a story to share about the couple's less than glamorous moments. In Hollywood, protecting an image is practically a full-time job. You keep the negative stories at bay, the brand endorsements rolling in, and the tabloids running only flattering paparazzi shots. But once the media senses a blood trail, it's a feeding frenzy. Fans who used to adore Blake's girl next door persona started asking, is she really that sweet, or has she been faking it for the cameras all along? And Ryan, typically known for his comedic charm, was beginning to look complicit in the eyes of many. After all, how could he not know about the behind-the-scenes drama swirling around his wife? Now for the real kicker, the lawsuit involving Justin Baldoni. If you haven't heard, Baldoni was in the midst of adapting the best-selling novel It Ends With Us, a guaranteed blockbuster. Blake was cast, and at first it seemed like a match made in Hollywood heaven. But the rumor is, she clashed with Baldoni over almost everything, from script changes to wardrobe budgets. Leaked production emails hinted that Blake had demanded high-end designer outfits for a character whose background clearly didn't align with wearing $1,000 gowns every other scene. Costume budgets ballooned past the breaking point. Production schedules got torpedoed, and if you believe the scuttlebutt, Blake even strong-armed studio execs with threats of harassment accusations to secure final editing rights. Sony itself later acknowledged no formal complaint had ever been filed, leaving many to suspect it was a calculated bluff. Whether you're Team Blake or Team Baldoni, one fact emerged. The project became an utter circus. Rumors of missed deadlines, withheld final cuts, and a mounting sense of chaos behind the scenes dominated the gossip columns. Baldoni filed legal motions, accusing Blake of hijacking the film's direction, while she appeared to spin her own narrative, claiming creative differences. The messy standoff all but overshadowed what should have been a triumphant film release, and it drove an even deeper wedge between the couple and the industry's most influential power brokers. Hollywood has a time-honored tradition of damage control by way of friendly televised appearances, a quick cameo, a charming interview segment, some self-deprecating humor, and voila, you're back in the public's good graces. Blake and Ryan tried to play that card on the Saturday Night Live 50th special. Spoiler alert, it didn't go as planned. Audiences expected them to crack a few jokes about the controversies and maybe offer a lighthearted nod to the Baldoni feud. Instead, they strolled on stage as though they'd never even heard the phrase bad press. The crowd reaction was more puzzled than delighted. People in the audience described the mood as awkward. Viewers at home flooded social media with questions like, do they seriously not realize how big this scandal is? Or are they just pretending everything's fine? The couple's usual comedic banter fell flat, like trying to do stand-up in a silent library. Fan forums erupted with critiques of how tone-deaf they seemed, praising the show's other performers, while slamming Blake and Ryan for ignoring a PR inferno the size of Mount Vesuvius. If they were hoping for a redemption arc, they got the exact opposite. It confirmed for many that the duo was either wildly out of touch or arrogantly convinced they could charm their way past a reckoning. So where does this leave Blake and Ryan now? They're effectively in the crosshairs of an industry that runs on reputation and relationships. Anna Wintour's cold shoulder might just be the first of many. In a world where alliances are fragile and a single misstep can have ripple effects for years, the couple is teetering on the brink. Producers, sponsors, and even co-stars are all quietly judging how toxic the association might become. Some celebrities attempt a quick apology tour, an emotional interview here, a heartfelt Instagram post there, to stem the bleeding. But so far, Blake and Ryan have stuck to silence or acted as if it's business as usual. That approach can work for a hot minute if your controversies are minor, or if you still have enough clout to weather the storm. But the lawsuit drama, the Met ban, the plantation wedding backlash, the rumored hostility towards staff and press, these aren't small potholes you can swerve around. They're canyon-sized sinkholes, swallowing up their carefully curated image. If they opt to vanish from the limelight for a couple of years, maybe that might give fans enough time to forget the finer details. But will the studios and fashion houses be so forgiving? Hollywood is a famously tight-knit and sometimes vengeful place. Nobody wants to gamble on a star who's seen as either untrustworthy or perpetually embroiled in controversy. At this point, there are two roads ahead for Blake and Ryan. One is a slow fade into the background, fewer appearances, canceled deals, and a quiet hope that the public's attention drifts elsewhere. The other is a major mea culpa tour, complete with heartfelt admissions of wrongdoing and a genuine attempt to rebuild bridges. But neither option comes with guarantees. Once a brand is tarnished at this scale, clawing back isn't just an uphill battle, it can feel like scaling a vertical cliff. So, what do you think? Are Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds capable of a comeback? Or have they overplayed their hand for the last time? Do they need to own up to their controversies publicly? Or is it smarter to sit tight and hope the storm eventually passes? Let us know your take in the comments. Because if there's one certainty in Hollywood, it's that the audience's verdict often carries the most weight of all. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the headlines. We'll be here picking apart the twists, turns, and surprises that keep Tinseltown in constant churn. Thanks for watching. And remember, when it comes to Hollywood drama, nothing is ever quite as perfect as it seems.